Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Deutschland.
There will be lots of drama, that is for sure. The gloves are off.
Jetzt aber Attacke da vorne. Da musst du alles auf den Punkt bringen.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, da geht einer massiv fliegen.
What an amazing move!
Schöneren Rennsport.
It was 2,191 days ago that Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Germany was last in the streets of Nuremberg. Here we are 6 years later, and finally this legendary series returns to the streets of Nuremberg here at the Norisring. Hello everybody, welcome along to what is undoubtedly going to be an absolute highlight of the Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Germany calendar. The cars are on the grid, the most unusual circuit that we visit, the only street circuit that we will visit during this season. It is just 2.162 kilometers around. That's about 1.3 miles. 5 turns, 4 to the left and 1 to the right, running it into an anti-clockwise direction. We're using roads that are used by the public all year round, and then at this time of year it's turned into a racetrack. The last time we were here it was a very different kind of series, and now we are getting ready to go as we head towards the halfway point of the season. There's a big crowd gathered here, ready to be entertained, ready to be deafened, and alongside me in the commentary box a person who was here the last time Porsche Carrera Cup was here at the Norisring. You used to commentate on it. Great to have you back behind the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Richardson.
Thank you so much. Yes, back in 2019, as memory recalls, and my memory fails, a bit like everything else that's going south as I've got older and older, I think it was Julian Andlauer and Michael Ammermuller that were the victors back then. So there we are. How things have changed. One thing that hasn't changed is the quality of the field with these remarkable cars and this remarkable series, which, may I say, around the very tight circuit here in Norisring, it's gonna be one heck of a race.
It really is. We had qualifying yesterday evening. It was done in 2 groups to give the drivers a bit of space to get in a quick time, and then the groups are now combined on the grid. It is going to be very, very packed. It was Flint Schuring who scored a pole position, and Alessandro Ghiretti, the new championship leader, who starts alongside him. Robert De Haan and Huub van Eindhoven lined up on the second row, and there is Huub van Eindhoven, who just behind him is Cas Havercourt. They are teammates at Team GP Elite, but they did get together at Zandvoort. They ended up with Huub van Eindhoven pointed in the wrong direction. I'm told that peace talks have not been very forthcoming, so lining up one behind the other, there may be some issues there. Another driver who may have been in trouble with the stewards a little bit at Zandvoort was Robert De Haan. He starts in 3rd place on the grid for this race. He'll be looking to stay out of trouble, but one of the 2 winners at Zandvoort was that man there, Alessandro Ghiretti, and his win jumped him to the top of the point standings. He now leads Robert De Haan by just 4 points. In 3rd place in the points championship, Ariel Levy, who just gets on with it, has jumped up into 3rd place. He's 34 points adrift. He's certainly not out of contention with the championship, but a bit of work to do. Janis Stiak and Flint Schuring tie in 4th place. They are 41 points back from Alessandro Ghiretti. There is our pole sitter as the engines fire up. In the Pro-Am Championship, Ahmed Al-Shahab leads Mikael Esman by just 2 points. He's jumped ahead to the top of the championship. Søren Spreng, the defending Pro-Am champion, having a torrid time. He is now 70 points away from the championship lead. In the Rookie Championship, It's Sasha Norden who leads Mateusz Ferreira by 13 points. Joe Warhurst, courtesy of his rookie win in Zandvoort, also up into second place in the Rookie Championship, tying with Mateusz Ferreira. So Sasha Norden is 13 points clear at the top of that point championship, but plenty still to fight for. Norden, who starts on pole for the rookies in this race. We have the overall race, we have the rookie race. Norden is on pole for that, and Ahmed Al-Shihab is on pole for the Pro-Ams. The engines are running, the cars are starting on their formation lap. This is going to be ferocious. I should think that Christoph Huber will be watching from behind the cushion, because the last time the cars were here back in 2019, he saw his 3 drivers that were in the field all take each other out in one accident. It's Blitz Schuring with his teammate Alessandro Ghiretti. It's going to be a drag race into that turn 1. Robert De Haan and Huub van Eindhoven line up on row 2. It's an all-Dutch row 2. Theo Overhaus and Cas Havercourt, they will be dangerous from row 3, making that charge into the tight turn 1. Senna van Serlen, great qualifying from him, has Alex Tauscher for company on row 4. With Sasha Norden, the leading rookie driver, he has Janis Stiak alongside him. Sebastian Freimer had a good qualifying. Ariel Levy was disappointed with 12th place. 13th place, Joe Warhurst from Great Britain has Jan Seifert alongside him. And on row 8, Keanu Bloom has Colin Berninghausen. He has experience around here, having raced in another category in the past. Marvin Klein, a long way back for him. And there is Mateusz Ferreira on 18th position. Gianluca Tucharoglu is alongside the pole sitter in the Pro-Am category, Ahmed Al-Shihab. Mikael Esman, 2 points back on the championship, and the defending champion Søren Spreng in the Pro-Am category. Daniel Gregor has the guesting Christoph Langer alongside him. And then it's Jonas Greif and Ahmed Al-Khoury on row 13. Mikael Schrey and Kai Pfister on all Pro-Am row 14. And then bringing up the year on her debut here at the Norisring, Emily de Hoos for ID Racing. So the formation lap is almost done and dusted. The opportunity to get the heat into the tyres and into the brakes.
29 cars around this tight Norisring circuit. The prospect of turn 1 and the funnel effect into the Grundig turn is one that is terribly, terribly exciting. Let's see how we do then. We are just moments away from the start of this race.
So the cars now onto the grid. The crowds are on the terraces. The sun is beating down. This is going to be 30 minutes plus 1 lap of explosive action. Once again, the streets of Nuremberg are going to echo to the sound of Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Germany. A great start from his 3rd pole position in this series. Blitz Schuring leading into turn 1. Alessandro Ghiretti has a little look to the outside. Right, this is the critical bit, locking up into the turn 1. Are they all going to make it around as one of the target cars bumping across the curb? But brilliant stuff from all the drivers. It looks like they're all around in towards turn 2. It's a great start from Blitz Schuring. Now Alessandro Ghiretti coming under pressure from Huub van Eindhoven, who hasn't looked really dialed in all the free practice sessions. Now out along the back straight they come, all fighting for positions on this track where overtaking is so difficult. Huub van Eindhoven in that 3rd place now, losing that position to Robert De Haan. We've got Sebastian Freimer going deep into the corner. The rest of the cars coming round, 3 abreast as they head around towards Duxendijk and out onto the pit straight. There's a challenge. That's Theo Overhaus ducking to the outside in towards Tom. We ride on board into that turn 1. There's Keanu Bloom just ahead. Janis Seifert in there as well. The car's all settling down, but good job for all the drivers making it around turn 1.
Fair play to them all. Brilliant driving. Discretion often the better part of valor in the early stages. The race is not won on lap 1, but you can bin it in the opening stages of the race, and no driver did. Havercourt up 1 place. Van Serlen up 1 place. It's Overhaus who's dropped a couple of places. He now sits in P7, but Schuring doing a great job out front and stretching his legs already, because the more Ghiretti and De Haan are fighting over that P2 place, it's allowing Schuring to really, really build a gap.
And meanwhile, Huub van Eindhoven and Robert de Haan have been noted, and now Nuremberg, the Pro-Am champion, the defending Pro-Am champion, pointing in the wrong direction. His bad luck continues. He turns the car around, but he will be stone last. There's two target cars running side by side into the corner as well. That's Alex Tauscher in the outside car, Sasha Norden, who had dropped a couple of positions at the start, who has also involved in that. But I was going to mention Robert de Haan, Huub van Eindhoven. An incident between them has been noted. Robert de Haan is into that third place, Huub van Eindhoven into that fourth. But all of this allowing Flynn Schuring nearly 2 seconds clear at the front. You can see the gap. Now Robert de Haan having a look to the inside of Alessandro Ghiretti. There may have been slight contact. Ghiretti moves across to shut the door. De Haan almost pushing him out onto the pit straight. Left, right, ducks to the outside, flashing the lights. Ghiretti just positioning the gold and black car exactly where he needs to. De Haan on the outside in towards turn one. Is he going to go the long way round? They make contact. De Haan has to back out of it, leaves himself vulnerable to Huub van Eindhoven. Keep an eye on Cass Havercourt behind Huub van Eindhoven as well. There's no love lost between those two teammates. De Haan looks again to the outside of Alessandro Ghiretti. What a fight for second place. All of this is allowing Flynn Schuring to break clear, almost 3 seconds clear at the front.
Huub van Eindhoven is rubbing his hands with invisible soap here because he knows the more Ghiretti and de Haan are really pressuring each other, as de Haan is taking a look at every single line that he can. Told you, Van Eindhoven could be the one to watch here. He can pick up the pieces as these two continue to fight awry across this P2 place.
Robert de Haan will have steam coming out of his ears because he knows that Flynn Schuring is breaking away at the top. He goes to the outside into turn one once again. Under braking, tries to sell the dummy. Ghiretti has that one covered off. Huub van Eindhoven is ready to jump if a gap appears in front of him. There is a jump start under investigation for Senna Van Serlen. Van Serlen in a very healthy 6th place, so he'll be hoping there are no issues there. It's the fight for second place that is keeping us captivated. There is first, well clear of the fight for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and 7th, all in a line.
Absolutely awesome stuff, and this pressure is continuing to be mounted. It's great driving from Ghiretti, who's just soaking up this pressure like a sponge at the moment. Wherever de Haan fronts that car, it makes no difference. Ghiretti is able to see him off, and that has been the case. Whichever way he has looked, inside, outside, he has tried every way, and he looks to the outside again, going to try and sell a dummy and get to the inside. Ghiretti is all over it, places the car exactly where Robert de Haan wants it not to be placed, and denies him.
Right, no further action for Senna Van Serlen, so that's good news for him. Now, Huub van Eindhoven can see Robert de Haan just selling the dummy into the corners, and he is getting ready to slot that car into the gap. When Robert de Haan does that, you could just see he's waiting for his moment. In the meantime, in the rookie races, Sasha Norden, who leads the rookies, it's denoted by the orange box around their number on your screen. So Sasha Norden leading in the rookies. Joe Warhurst is second. Matheus Ferreira in third place. Leading in the Pro-Ams, Mikael Esman has found a route past Ahmed Al-Shahab because he's dropped back to 4th in the Pro-Ams. In 25th in the overall race, it's Mikael Schrei who is second in the Pro-Ams. Right, the incident between Ghiretti and de Haan, no further action. Now de Haan almost tried to shut the door on Ghiretti. The stewards had a look. They say no further action on that incident.
To be fair, and I think that's fair, it's a racing incident, isn't it? They were going for it, and you know, the big beneficiary, as we've seen, and we can see, look at that for a change of direction. Well held, I have to say. Well held indeed. That was Freimuth, was it not?
That was Sebastian Freimuth getting locked up and getting out of the way. So great news is, despite all of this that has been going on, including Nuremberg having that spin, all the cars are running, which is fantastic stuff. Alessandro Ghiretti in second place. Flynn Schuring, his teammate, now 4.154 clear. There is Robert de Haan. There is Huub van Eindhoven. De Haan in that third place. Hu van Eindhoven starting to turn the heat up. That's just allowed Alessandro Ghiretti to break clear a bit, because now, having been the hunter, suddenly Robert de Haan is being hunted by Hu van Eindhoven. Senna van Serlen going side by side with the Porsche Junior, Theo Overhaus. Senna van Serlen, a man on a mission, full of confidence here this year in Timo Bernhard's team, the Team 75 Bernhard car, and moves to the outside. Theo Overhaus. Overhaus has it covered off just in the background. That's Ariel Levy, who's made good progress up into 8th place.
So Ghiretti then, as you quite rightly said, now he can focus on trying to reduce the gap. Flint Schuring has been able to, and he's doing it. He is doing it. 3.7 seconds is the gap from P1 to P2 right now. Robert de Haan continuing to defend from Hu van Eindhoven, and Kaz Haverkort's in that mix too.
Yes, Kaz Haverkort very much in contention as well. His teammate Hu van Eindhoven just ahead of him. So just settling down for the moment. 22.5 minutes remaining of this. The first race back on the streets of Nuremberg since 2019. It is Flint Schuring who stamped his authority on this race, but had he taken too much out too soon? On board with Alex Tauscher. He's in 9th place at the moment. Ahead of him is Ariel Levy in that 8th place, and then it's Senna van Serlen. It is the 84 car of Ahmed Al-Shihab, who has been reported to the stewards for the incident that saw Søren Spring getting turned around. So the stewards taking a look at that. We only saw the end of that. You can see Alex Tauscher riding on board very much flat out as he goes in towards the corner. You can see the speed, you can see the gear changes into turn 2, taken at about 2nd gear on the exit, and then it's flat out. He's going to reach speeds of getting on for 225 kilometers an hour into 5th gear as he heads in towards turn 4, and this is in theory a 1st gear corner, taken at about 60 kilometers an hour. Right, we're having a look at a replay here, looking how close these cars get to the wall. There is Alessandro Ghiretti, and there is Robert de Haan, and that's going to have left a bit of a scar on the number 46 car.
Say a bit of a scar. It might have just upset the back end of the car a little bit as well, and perhaps that is just playing nicely into the hands of Hu van Eindhoven now, because Robert de Haan is definitely having to make that car twice as wide as it is as he sticks his metaphoric elbows out of the windows to try and deny Hu van Eindhoven any opportunity to go through. He's been able to do it so far. Can he maintain that defensive stance? And whilst he's doing that, Ghiretti is continuing to take a little bit of time out of Schuring, but I just get the impression that Schuring is just maintaining and measuring the gap.
Of course, these tyres have to last the full 30 minutes plus 1 lap. We're only 1/3 of the way through this race, so making sure you've got some grip at the end of this race is critical. Flint Schuring, having opened up that gap of 3.8, looks to be holding it. I think Robert de Haan, with that smack against the wall, certainly hasn't done the car any favours, has it? And Hu van Eindhoven now starting to look impatient to relieve him of the last of the podium positions. So looking back, there is Alessandro Ghiretti.
And there you could see there was a movement going on with Overhaus, and another car has gone around, and I think that's Al-Shihab, isn't it?
No, that's Emilie de Hoos, who's pointing in the wrong direction. So Emilie de Hoos, who's struggled a little bit to get the grips with the circuit. Now, if she can't get that going, this may well bring out a safety car. You can see her just throwing her hands into the air, wondering if she's struggling, or maybe, no, the engine does sound like it's running. Clearly very angry with herself. One of the talent pool drivers who are coached by Wolf Hensler. There are several drivers in that talent pool. It doesn't look like she's lost it on her own, and she looks like she's pretty well, let's call him burnt. No, there's Søren Spring doing a bit of avoiding action to get out of the way, and she's looking very frustrated with herself. If she can't get that moving, we're going to see a safety car, which would be bad news for Flint Schuring, having done all that work and used all that rubber to open up 3.8 seconds, and a safety car, exactly what we've got. Clearly, she's got problems getting the thing back in gear. I wonder if she's had a mechanical failure. Maybe that's why the car has spun around. We'll no doubt find out about that eventually. She puts it into gear, gets it going. She was in 1st gear there. The engine was still running, and then I think she's struggling to find reverse gear, I think. And You can see the frustration and arm signals, and safety car needed to retrieve that.
Don't think it was engaging, was it? You could see the dashboard was in N for neutral as she was trying desperately to get into reverse to avoid a safety car. There was nothing she could do about that. It was just really, really unfortunate, and what a great shame.
So Iris Durr's team, ID Racing, they've got 3 of these cars that look identical, like we need any confusion, and Emilie de Hoos, who has been having a really good season. She got her first podium in the rookies last time out at Zandvoort, 3rd place in some very challenging conditions, so certainly has the talent, but I wonder whether there was an issue with the car that caused her to be pointing towards the barrier. Whichever way, she is the first retirement of this race, and this is a replay of her in the car, and that's just her saying, I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, clearly mechanical issues stopping her from getting going. She's out of the car, safety car is out, so this could change the dynamic of this race. Remember, Flint Schuring had that big gap at the front that he'd built up, and then he was holding it. He's used up a lot of rubber, a lot of brakes getting that gap. Now suddenly he's going to have his teammate Alessandro Ghiretti. Their teammates by name only. Ghiretti is leading the championship. He wants the points, and he will not be giving any space at all to Flint Schuring as he tries to get past him.
Whilst a safety car is a disaster for some of those drivers, it is absolutely brilliant for us, because what it does, it just closes everybody up. And as Brian has made point, Flint Schuring, the big gap that he had is not going to be there. However, when it comes to getting this race started once again, it is going to be the likes of Ghiretti and De Haan and Van Eindhoven who've got to try and anticipate when Schuring will give it 100% on the loud pedal, and that is a skill in itself, is trying to anticipate when a driver is going to go for it. It's not going to be a long safety car intervention. We're still going to get plenty of racing, and I think this race is going to be shaping up to be another absolute scorcher, isn't it? Because from our point of view, from an entertainment viewpoint, we get almost a start all over again.
Yes, and they've all got to get round turn 1 all over again. In all that has been occurring in other news, Mikael Schrei has found a route past Mikael Essmann and has moved up to 21st place in the race, but in 1st place amongst the Pro-Ams. You can see on your graphic the blue box representing that he is a Pro-Am driver. He's made good progress, up 6 places in this race and leading in the Pro-Ams. Mikael Essmann has Jonas Greif between him and his rival. He's 2nd in the Pro-Ams. The guesting Kai Pfister. Great to have Kai Pfister guesting along with Christoph Langer, both in the Pro-Am categories. Pfister is in 3rd place. Ahmed Al-Shihab, who started on pole position in the Pro-Ams, is all the way back in 25th, and as we already mentioned, it may have something to do with what happened with Søren Spreng as well. Spreng is just behind him. Safety car will have helped Søren Spreng, I should think, in this instance. So the car's circulating at the moment, trying to keep the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. This is going to be a very different kind of restart for Flint Schuring. At a lot of other circuits, you have the space to let the safety car get away, and then you can nail it when you want to. But of course here, the safety car is going to be peeling off quickly into the pit lane, and suddenly they're all going to be on the power together.
Yes, and the safety car has indeed done that, but they may, because it's such a short lap here, I reckon the safety car may stay out, and it will stay out for another lap.
Yeah.
So this will be the preparation for Flint Schuring now to stack them all up behind, because it is going to be surely this time that the safety car will come in. To the best of my knowledge, I think the car has been got to safety, and therefore the lights will go out on the safety car, and we will go back to racing. And as I say, it'll be down to Schuring to stack them all up. It'll be down to the likes of Ghiretti and De Haan to anticipate when he's going to give it everything on that accelerator pedal and go racing once again. Lights still flashing though.
So it'll be 2 teammates fighting for 1st and 2nd. De Haan with a possibly damaged car in 3rd place. Keep an eye on the rookies. In 12th and 13th, Joe Warhurst has got a taste for the top step of the podium in the rookies, and he will be eager to get past Sasha Norden. Safety car lights are out, so it means that Flint Schuring will now back the pack up, but he will have a very short run out of turn 4, the Dutzendijk turn, out across the line, so he won't be able to have the advantage of getting on it bit too quickly.
He can't accelerate and decelerate, accelerate and decelerate. Once he accelerates, he has to stay accelerated. You can't go, stop, go, stop. You've got to decide when you're going to do it. And you can see just Ghiretti, now he goes for it. 100% down on the throttle. I think it was a good anticipation from Ghiretti, who stays with him. Robert de Haan caught a little bit napping, if I'm honest.
Yeah, good job from Alessandro Ghiretti. Anticipated his teammate well, so a gap opening up between second and third. The rest of the cars coming across the line. Now Ghiretti to the outside into turn one. Surely he can't get around there. He's trying to sell the dummy to Flint Schuring. Exactly what Robert de Haan was trying to do to him, and he was trying to do to Robert de Haan earlier on. Now to the outside once again. I think Flint Schuring, not one for making loads of mistakes. He is coached by Larry Tenforder, the former champion for the Larry Tenforder Driving Academy. And he would have been advising him how to deal with this. Flint Schuring leads the way. Alessandro Ghiretti can't find a route past. The Porsche Junior has a look to the inside into turn four. Schuring has that faster line. There's a lock up behind. You see the smoke rising up into the air. Robert de Haan would be happy if those two teammates were to fight amongst themselves, because it allows him to close in. Now de Haan has his sights set on that second place. Alessandro Ghiretti, having been attacking Flint Schuring, now suddenly is having to defend in the background. Who van Eindhoven is ready to pounce. There's Senna van Cernen looking at the back of Cas Havercourt. Taylor Overhouse in there as well, looking down in towards turn one. That looks like that. Matheus Ferreira, one of the target. No, it's Alex Tauscher, I think that was, who took a dive to the inside. I think Guido Blum. He made it stick. Ariel Levy there, no, it wasn't Blum, it was one of the other cars, but Ariel Levy in there as well. And this is the view on board with Ariel Levy. So much action. Right, let's have a look here. It was, beg your pardon, Marvin Klein. So that one completely wrong. There's Sebastian Freimer as well. And there is Sasha Norden and Joe Warhurst. They are fighting for the lead in the rookie race. So many battles going on. It's still advantage Norden at the moment in the rookie. Still Mikael Schrei, who is leading the way in the Pro-Ams. So incident involving Sebastian Freimuth is under investigation by our race stewards. Looking down at turn one, that is Guido Blum. Once again, that's Matheus Ferreira just behind him in the number 27 car, smoking the brakes into the corner. Great stuff here and great racing from these drivers, getting 28 cars, keeping them running, all fair fighting. We're reaching the 2/3 point of the race, still all to play for. Flint Schuring at the front has opened up a gap of 4/10. That 3-second plus lead he had early on will seem like a distant memory, because Alessandro Ghiretti has got him in his sight. So the first two now breaking clear of Robert de Haan once again. So Ghiretti had dropped back into the clutches of third, but is now back up onto the race leader. This is not all over. On board now with the leading Pro-Am driver, Mikael Schrei, in 21st place overall. But his main contender is Mikael Esman, 2 places back from him. That's who he is battling with in this race. He's got the comfort of Jonas Greif between them. Ahmed Al-Shihab is third in the Pro-Am cars. And there is Mikael Schrei, focused and experienced pilot, very much in the championship hunt for the Pro-Ams. The defending champion in the Pro-Am, Søren Spreng, has had nothing but bad luck this year. And you can see him getting beaten from pillar to post. There's Ahmed Al-Shihab just ahead of him, and Kai Pfister also getting his elbows out.
I think he was doing a bit of the beating, if I may be honest, as well. But absolutely phenomenal stuff. And the P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 battles going on. The top two have broken away a bit, and the closest gap is, or the closest battle is for P3, 4, and 5 at the moment. Credit to all the drivers, though. I thought it could be something of a panel fest on the opening laps, and we've had a safety car as well, and credit to them all. They've kept them between the walls and kept them, by and large, out of the wall, so great driving.
Oh, now you've done it. Right, 9.5 minutes to keep it out of the wall. Right into the pits. There's Kai Pfister, I think, who's peeled off into the pit lane, so I think he's got some issues guesting here. Great to have Kai back. We saw him at Spa. He got a 25th and a 28th there for Proton Huber competition, but looked like he was having some issues out on track, and that looks like that car is going no further. So now 2 retirements from this race. We've got Kai Pfister and Emily de Host. Everybody else still out on track. Right, the red and white car there is Sasha Norden, the leading rookie. The blue and black Capsi coating up Proton Huber car behind him is being driven to perfection by Joe Warhurst, but he's struggling to reel in Sasha Norden at the moment. So Norden in 12th overall, Warhurst in 13th, but first and second in the rookies. Third in the rookies still Matheus Ferreira. He is in 17th overall. So lots of fighting still to come. A black and white flag has been shown to Søren Spreng for a dangerous manoeuvre. And I think Søren Spreng is wondering what is going to happen, what is happening with this season. He's a 2-time champion in the Pro-Ams, the defending champion, but this year he cannot catch a break.
Really, really impressive driving from Flint Schuring, you know, who's now built 6/10 of a margin over his teammate Ghiretti, and then it is De Haan and Van Eindhoven and Overhaus ahead of Havercourt and Van Solen. That's the way they look for the top 7 at the Mo.
So Flint Schuring, who is, of course, the younger brother of Maurice Schuring. He's here in the DTM this weekend. Of course, a Le Mans 24-hour winner as well. Flint, very, very rapid, proving that, just getting it all right. I listened to an interview with Ariel Levy over the winter, and he said the problem with Flint Schuring is he doesn't make mistakes. So once you're behind him, he's a really hard man to pass, and he's doing exactly that because he's got the Porsche Junior behind him, Alessandro Ghiretti. You don't become a Porsche Junior unless you're pretty useful.
Yeah, it's only a problem if you're Ariel Levy or one of the other drivers, isn't it? You know, for actually, it's a huge, huge, you know, to be consistent across lap after lap after lap. If you can continue to dial it in and always be like that, and in fairness, has done exactly that from that restart.
And Alessandro Ghiretti seemingly with no ideas how to get past at the moment. There is Huub van Eindhoven flashing the lights, just trying to put the pressure onto Robert De Haan at the moment. The 2 Dutch drivers are running in 3rd and 4th place. And Huub van Eindhoven, who would dearly love to get on to the podium in this race. He's had a couple of 4th places this year. We saw him taking his first ever win at Hockenheim at the end of last year. That was an emotional experience. And that is Ahmed Al-Khoury, who's got it all wrong under braking into turn 1, unaided, and the car swapping ends. It looks like he's been able to get it all going again, so no need for a safety car. But for a lot of these drivers, first time on a street circuit, a steep learning curve, and there's Matheus Ferreira to the inside. There's Jan Seifert going deep. The 3 target cars, very helpfully all painted the same colour, but the leading target car, Matheus Ferreira. He is still 3rd in the rookies, in 15th place overall. Just ahead of him is Marvin Klein, who is not enjoying the kind of pace that he's got used to in this series. He's down in 14th place and struggling a little bit for a setup, I think.
Yeah, and you mentioned setup, completely different setup when you come to a short track like this, and very much the shortest on the calendar, that's for sure. And there's not a moment for these drivers to relax. I mean, you know, racing drivers don't do a lot of relaxing when it comes to a race, that's for sure. But there's not even the opportunity to get a good breath in because you're on it virtually the entire time. This is such a brilliant place to be racing as Flint Schuring continues to lead and extend his lead up to just under 8/10 now.
A number of these drivers who also compete in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. They may have only had 3 laps of racing around Monaco, but they did get a lot of experience around the streets. It was De Haan who won from Overhaus and Ghiretti on that instance, learning in the streets, learning not to put it in the barriers. There's Ahmed Al-Shihab doing a bit of drifting as well. You can see how much debris there is on the track as well. But those who were racing at Monaco earlier this year may have had some experience on a street circuit. This circuit is nicknamed the Franconian Monaco because of its resemblance, mainly because the barriers around the outside are incredibly close. The car's getting as close to those barriers as they dare, coming out of turn 1 especially, trying to extract every last millisecond out of the lap. As we ride on board with Alex Tauscher, you can see it is a very active job. You're not just steering and changing gear, you're adjusting brake balance, keeping on top of everything all the way around this very, very short lap times of about 50 seconds. Flint Schuring has the fastest lap of the race of 50.771. Colin Bernighausen to the inside of, look like Janis Stiak in the number 40 car. So Bernighausen moving up into the top 10. Stiak having a fairly quiet time. It's Ariel Levy and Senna Van Serlen. So Levy challenging for 7th place, side by side in towards turn 1 they come. Levy has the inside line under braking. I think Serlen is going to lose that position. Alex Tauscher, ever the opportunist in the background, ready to jump as well. Colin Bernighausen also there in that fight.
It is an awesome fight, and you can't afford to take your eyes away from the screen for even a second. There is so much going on. They cross from the tarmac onto the concrete paved area, still getting the same amount of grip because it is bone dry out there. Track temperature really, really high today, although not as high as it was in qualifying yesterday. But nonetheless, the tyres doing well at the moment. No one seeming to really drop their times and lose out to Deg, because we've only got 3 minutes of the race remaining.
How time flies when you're having fun. The return of Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Germany to the streets of Nuremberg here at the Norisring is proving to be spectacular. Alex Tauscher in the number 13 car in 9th place overall. At the front, Schuring, you had that big gap, then the safety car came out, just stretching it a little bit. He doesn't need to hold it for much longer. 2 3/4 minutes plus 1 very short lap, and this race will be over. Alessandro Ghiretti will stretch his legs at the front of the championship if things remain as they are. Remember, he overtook Robert De Haan in the championship at Zandvoort. De Haan is behind him by 1.381 seconds. Huub van Eindhoven not able to make it into a podium position. He's still got 2.5 minutes plus 1 lap to do something about it. Colin Bernighausen now lining up Alex Tauscher. This will be for 9th place of Bernighausen. A little look to the outside in towards turn 1 under braking. Not entirely sure he's going to make this stick around the hairpin. Tauscher has that quicker line. Bernighausen slots back in behind.
Bernighausen was just looking at trying to get a switch back there, wasn't he? Get to the inside, but it wasn't doing. The car was placed absolutely properly to defend that, and they continue to fight over this position. And lovely camera angles here where you can really see the speed, and the fight that is going on at the moment is awesome between these drivers.
Absolutely brilliant stuff, and one of the fights that's further back that I'm watching is Sasha Norden, Joe Warhurst and Matheus Ferreira. And I saw that Joe Warhurst is putting the pressure on to Sasha Norden, down in 13th place, but it's for the rookie win. Norden is still leading it. Sasha Norden leading the championship. He's had 3 wins in the rookies this year, as opposed to Joe Warhurst had just 1 so far. He would dearly love to get that. There is Sasha Norden, the red and white car in the background. But the fighting up and down the pack, everybody looking for those points at the moment. Advantage Flint Schuring. There is Marvin Klein. He's a long way back. Very much a championship favourite coming into this year, but 12th place is only going to give him 4 points. And that is against what was a potential 25 points that will go to Flint Schuring.
The target car in front of him that we could see through the windscreen was Janis Stiak, of course, and he's not making any impression on the driver that he's currently running P11 at the moment. We're watching all the way through the pack because there is so much going on throughout, but the one thing that you can be relied upon is that Flint Schuring is extending his margin at the front even more. It's up to a full second now ahead of Ghiretti, and then De Haan, Van Eindhoven, Overhaus and Havercourt.
I tell you what, we could do with about 3 monitors, because so many things to be looking at up and down the pack as we ride on board with Alex Tauscher in that 9th place. I'm keeping one eye on the rookie battle in the background as well. Mikael Schrein now has 2 cars between himself and his nearest challenger, Mikael Esman in the Pro-Ams. Jonas Greif and Jean-Luc Tucharoglu are behind him. There is Senna Van Serlen in 8th place. So Senna Van Serlen, a solid job. His best so far has been a 5th place at the Red Bull Ring last year, but 8th place would be a good reward for what has been a solid drive so far. Up ahead of him is Mr. Consistency, Ariel Levy. Cass Havercourt in that 6th place. 5th place, Theo Overhaus, very much not getting too involved in other people's battles at the moment. Then it's Huub van Eindhoven still putting the pressure onto Robert De Haan. And here on board with our race leader, the clock has struck 0. So Flint Schuring now will be commencing shortly his very last lap. Still the fighting. We got a big accident. That's Mikael Esmond. That is going to bring a very quick stop to this race. Mikael Esmond has had a very big impact with the barriers, and that is very sizable indeed. So hopefully Mikael is all right. The cars are made to fall apart so that if they do have a big impact, it just absorbs the energy. But clearly Mikael Esmond has had a very sizable impact with the barrier. And
that's an interesting place where that would happen. So red flag immediately.
Yeah.
And that will be the end of this race for sure. So it will be Schuring, Ghiretti, De Haan, Eindhoven. So on board now as everyone rushes to the attention, of course, of Esman. And Brian is absolutely right in that the integral safety of these cars is such that the cars are built so that they can withstand impact. And the car's coming back down into the pit lane then right now. And that brought, I mean, we were on to the +1 lap, I think. We just started it, hadn't we? So there's no chance this... yeah, it's just a shame the race has finished the way it has. Not even the opportunity for the drivers to take the checkered flag, but quite understandably so. When you picked up on the fact that clearly there'd been contact there, right on the start-finish straight, just ahead of the start-finish line, I believe.
Yes, and very important that obviously that there's space given to attend to Mikael Esmond. There'll also be an awful lot of debris across the track, so the car's just immediately... And there is Mikael Esmond out of the car. That is the best news of all.
And that just reinforces the integral safety of these cars.
Yes.
They are built to withstand big impacts. And Michael Esmond, of course, crash helmet, head and neck support, the hands device that these drivers have. Right. Let's see now then what happened.
It was Ahmed Al-Shihab that he was fighting with, and the two cars got together, and that was a big impact. And you see how much of a dent is in the barrier. Well, that's the barrier doing what it's meant to do, and that's absorbed the impact. But that was a mighty... See the driver's door flying off. So he was fighting with Ahmed Al-Shihab for position, but a big... I'm just so relieved to see Mikael get out of the car. That is one of the biggest impacts I've seen in a Carrera Cup race in a very long time.
Well, we're seeing all these replays here. I'm just curious because he was right behind Al-Shihab, wasn't he? I don't think there was a touch between them, was there? As we're going through all these replays, just trying to pick the bones out of it, if you will. Yeah. But the one thing is absolutely correct. It was a heck of a speed.
Well, we can see here, and out of...
Perhaps just caught the corner.
Rear wheel.
Yeah,
I don't know,
maybe.
Whatever it was, it certainly wouldn't have been deliberate if there had been contact. These drivers are they're fair racers, and certainly Ahmed Al-Shihab is as fair as they come. But it doesn't look like there's contact from there, and so Spreng was able to keep out of it as well. But as we say, cars can be replaced, drivers can't. So the important bit is that the safety of the Porsche, and there's, as we've already said, safety very much in mind for the drivers when these cars are designed and built, doing exactly what they're meant to do. The safety cell that the driver sits in, and look at that. I get the feeling that car might not be back out again tomorrow, I'm afraid, but the main bit is the drivers are all okay. Back to the headline here, and Flint Schuring, the timing screens are saying Huub van Eindhoven, but I think that's just because they came through the pit lane. I'm not sure that Huub van Eindhoven is being shown as the winner, but I think that's a mistake. Flint Schuring is in first place. I think it's because some of them came through the pit lane and some went over the start-finish line, so the timing just getting confused. Flint Schuring is our race winner, ahead of Alessandro Ghiretti and Robert De Haan. In the rookies, everything's subject to confirmation. Sasha Norden holding off Joe Warhurst. Yeah, that's your confirmation. And Matheus Ferreira taking third step on the podium. Just listening in. I think they're talking in German, so there's no chance there for me. In the Pro-Ams, Michael Schrei taking the top step there. Ahmed Al-Shihab, clearly Michael Essmann not finishing on the podium now. So Ahmed Al-Shihab up to second. Søren Spring, unbelievably, getting a third place. There is Robert De Haan. There's Gees De Haan, his dad, with the sunglasses on. And he was really defending it. In T1, yeah. It's T1. It was good.
Could be worse, yeah. We lost only 2 points.
Could be worse. Consolation.
Game 10 on them, because he started somewhere in the
solid points earned, of course.
Yeah. So, yes, I mean, it's no great revelations there. There's Flint Schöring's dad, Gervin, in the white shirt, just looking on, shaking hands with the Porsche engineer. He will be a proud dad. Both of his sons racing here around the Norisring this weekend. And Flint Schöring, his youngest, taking the top step of the podium in this race. And Alessandro Ghiretti didn't take any wild risks, just scored valuable points and extends his lead at the top of the championship. Let's have a look at what is subject to confirmation. The finish, Flint Schöring taking the win ahead of Alessandro Ghiretti, Robert De Haan, Huban Eindhoven a solid 4th place, Theo Overhaus ahead of Cas Havercourt, Ariel Levy, Senna van Serlen rounding out the top 8, and everybody stayed out of trouble. They're winners here around what is a tough circuit here at the Norisring. But Flint Schöring certainly controlling it. 1 second was the gap at the flag, and whether that was adjusted by the fact that red flags came out, I think he'd crossed the line at that point. But that is your top 8. In 9th place, I think it'll be Alex Tauscher ahead of Colin Berninghausen. So that'll appear now. Here we go. Alex Tauscher, Colin Berninghausen, Janis Stiak, long way back for him, also for Marvin Klein. But Sasha Norden winning in the rookies, holding off immense pressure from Joe Warhurst. Matheus Ferreira, 3rd in the rookies ahead of Jan Seifert. Sebastian Freimer, who had a fairly lively race, he finished ahead of Keanu Blum. Daniel Gregor, he'll be disappointed with 19th. And then Michael Schrei winning in the Pro-Ams ahead of Jonas Greif, Gianluca Tucciaroglu, 2nd in the Pro-Ams. Michael Essmann had been shown a 2nd. Now, they've probably taken the result from the previous lap. So, unbelievably, despite that crash, Michael Essmann is going to get the 2nd place trophy. Ahmed Al-Shihab down to 3rd. So, Søren Spring bumped off the podium. Christoph Langer in 26th overall. And Ahmed Alakouri, Kai Pfister, Emilie de Hoos, all non-finishers in that race. It'll be scant consolation for Michael Essmann, because I think getting the car onto the grid tomorrow might be a bit of a challenge for the Team 75 Bernhard crew. Yeah, that has certainly shortened that Porsche somewhat, but he will get a bit of silverware to take away with him, because they've clearly taken the result from the lap prior to the red flag.
And I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly the right thing to do. As we look at the Ahmed Al-Shihab car there, the number 84 car, down there in the pit lane. There's going to be a bit of work to be done on the barriers, because they are designed and built to absorb the energy, and it did exactly what it had to do. Yeah. But it's going to want a bit of straightening, maybe even a bit of replacing before anything else happens out here on the circuit, I would suggest. I mean, the team here works so hard and so well that it will be replaced probably by the time that we've got the podium done. But just saying, yes, that safety is the paramount importance, of course, and until that barrier and the integral safety of that barrier is put back. Let's bring you the podium now, though.
Here's Robert De Haan stepping onto that podium. He doesn't look especially delighted. I think he had bigger aspirations. The good bit is he gets to do it all again tomorrow, maybe set the record straight. Into 2nd place, Alessandro Ghiretti extends his championship lead over that man. There is Gervin Schöring, the father of Flint. He will be one proud father. He already was prior to this race, even more so now. I expect Morris will be cheering on from the Manthey garage, as well as Flint Schöring stands on the top step of the podium. We're also going to get Nicolas Vigier, the race mechanic, who will come up onto the podium to receive a trophy on behalf of Schumacher CLRT. Such a welcome addition to the grid of Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Germany. They know how to prepare one of these cars. So the Dutch national anthem, very familiar to anybody who follows any kind of motorsport. So the Vincent Flants, the Chief Business Officer and member of the management board of Sixt, and we are so pleased to have Sixt very heavily involved in the Porsche Sixt Carrera Cup Germany. Torsten Ruckert, the project manager, customer support, does a sterling job in the organisation of this series, presenting the second place trophy, and I think Vincent Flants will present the winner's trophy as well. We just wait for him to come back on and present a trophy. Flint Schuren had to work for that. He made it look easy. Trust me, it wasn't. And then the winning team, Torsten Ruckert, will present the trophy to Schumacher CLRT, to Nicolas Vigier, receives that on behalf of the team. And great job that they have done. And a great race. I've been looking forward to this since the calendar was released last year. The 6 years on, we return to the streets of Nuremberg, and I've really enjoyed that. It's been good, hasn't it?
There's no doubt about it that I think this whole stadium complex is just, it's a cathedral of fantastic stuff. And as I said earlier on, credit to all the drivers, because when you've got that amount of Porsche Carrera Sixt cars out there on the grid, I mean, the recipe for quite some barrier instance. We only actually had one.
Only had one, and certainly the crew at Team 75 Bernhard will get to work on that car. Whether it'll be seen tomorrow remains to be seen, but the good bit is we do get another race this weekend. We get another race at 11:15 local time tomorrow morning. We're on air from about 10 past 11, where we get to do it all again. I think Robert De Haan will be even more eager to track down Alessandro Ghiretti as he fights for the lead of the championship. I hope you have enjoyed our return to the Norisring. Let's do it all again tomorrow for the halfway point of the season. It'll be race 8 tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.